Good day, student. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the best institute on earth, Institute for Open Learning. My name is Edu Triumph. I'm going to be your contact tutor for Computer Studies 2 come the year 2022. I congratulate you and welcome you to this institute. I congratulate you for have passed your assignment. It's because you passed your assignment that is why you are qualified to write this examination. I also congratulate you that you also passed your computers 1. That is why you are qualified to write computer 2. This is Computer Studies 2, DES 22 for the year 2022. There are a lot of 2's here. Can you see that? Computer 2, COS 2022, year 2022. What does that mean? It means you too, you will pass. Amen. Don't say this pastor has prayed, then automatically you will pass. You have to work for it. But there are so many tools here. That is why I love this one. Okay. Let us go down to business. This presentation is for who? It's for those taking diploma in education secondary, computer studies 2. So, this is an examination-based presentation. I'm here to guide you on how to go through your examination, how to prepare you for the examination as usual. This is computer 2. It means that you have already written computer 1. So by now you should be used to what we are doing here. This presentation is for the April, the August, and the supplementary examination of November, COM 2022 examination. This will guide you. It's not a scope. As I always say in any of my presentation, it's not a scope where we tell you these are the topics that you must read or these are the topics you must not read. You should prepare for everything. Train hard, fight easy. Okay. When you get your question paper, you will be required to answer all the questions. In Computer Studies 2, you are going to have practical examination. So, section A or section 1 of your question paper will be theoretical. You write. Section B, you will be placed on the computer, given a task, carry out the task on the computer, and print it out. Meaning you have to prepare very well for computer studies too, because you are going to be computer studies teacher. So there are some practical work that you must be able to do. So in your work, you will have practical examination. You will have practical examination. In my presentation today, I'm going to focus on 2 areas. What I mean is that I'm going to divide my presentation on 2 ways or 2 areas. First, the general guidelines, then the technical areas. First, let's look at the general guidelines. While preparing for this examination, please review your question papers. What I mean is review your assignment question. Remember, you submitted the assignment, I marked the assignment, and I returned back the assignment to you. Review your assignment question. Why is it necessary for you to review your assignment question? It's because in distance education, assignment is not just for you to have assignment marks. Assignment prepares you for the examination. So the format of the assignment and the format of the question are the same. So if you review it, pay attention to the comment I gave to you. That, listen, Selma, you didn't do this thing well. Karivi, you didn't do this thing well. the clerk, you didn't do this thing well. This is how you are supposed to do it. Next time, don't. I wrote some comment for you. Look at those comments. Besides the individual comment that I commented on your assignment paper, I also sent a comprehensive general comment that was uploaded into your student portal. Download it so that you should go through it. Something very important. As I always say, I will repeat it. It's easy for you to roll around in your village because you know the croons and corners of the village. But if I take you to my village where you don't know the territory, there's a possibility you get lost. The same thing with examination. If you download past examination question papers and you go through them all the time, it's like that little boy who is rolling around his village. Even at night, he can still find his way home. Your night here is the examination hall. When you download your question paper and you are going through them, it's like that boy who roll around the village during the day. Then at night, he can still find his way home. So when you download your question paper, you go through them. When it comes to the examination time, which is like the night of the boy, you will still answer the question effectively. Why? But then you are already used to the structure. By then, nothing comes as a surprise to you. But a word of caution which I will tell you is this. Do not download past question paper and send to me to answer and send to you, back to you. It will not help you. Otherwise, you might be like that little boy. He goes to the market, to the mall in his village. Then each time somebody have to take it home. Each time I want to go home, please take me home. Somebody have to take him home. He never goes home on his own once. He will not get used to the road. So it will not help you if you are sending me questions to answer and give to you. What will help you is you answer the questions yourself. Where you are stuck, where you don't know what to do, then contact me. Then I will guide you. Another very important thing. Get yourself familiar with your course outline and model. It will help you. When you get familiar with your course outline and model, you will know. If you know your Bible, when problem comes, you know the Bible book to go to. But if you don't know your Bible, you don't know where to turn to when problem comes. Above all this, you have me with you. Above using the past question paper, the course module, the assignment feedback, and the rest, I am employed and paid to assist you to be successful in this course. So get back to me whenever you are stuck. Let's look at the course outline. You know, the course outline tells you something. The expected learning outcomes. Upon completion of this module, students should be able to, number one, translate algorithm into a computer program. You know, there is a difference between an algorithm and a computer program. Né? Clarify and apply system analysis. Examine and apply organization of data. Analyze it. So these are the things you are expected to know in computer study 2. So how do you do it? This is how you study. Take the first topic. Translate algorithm into computer's program. I have written my algorithm. How do I now change my algorithm to a computer program? That is your topic. What should you do? You will now open your study guide. Look for where that topic is in your study guide and read it. Can you see now? Don't go to your study guide first. Don't study with the study guide just like that. If you do that, it's like a student in a high school who is just studying with the textbook. No. First of all, you open your syllabus. In this case now, your course outline, expected learning outcome. What is the first topic? This is the first topic. Good. You now open the study guide. When you open the study guide, you will see where that topic is. Then you study that topic. When you are done studying that topic, there are activities that are there in that studied unit. Those activities, do not ignore them. Those activities, you try to answer those activities. Those activities is to test whether you understand the topic or not. By the time you are done with those activities and you are fine, the next thing you should do is you go back to the past question paper that you downloaded. Look for a question in that topic and see if you can answer. So 2 ways now. You are done studying the unit. The activities in that unit, you can answer them well. The question from the past question paper that come from that unit, you can answer it. Then you are fine. But by the time you are done studying the unit, you now open the questions at the back of that unit. Out of 10 questions at the back of that unit, you can only answer 1. You are not fine. You are not fine. Out of 10 questions at the back of that unit, you can only answer 3. You are not fine. If you can answer 5, 6, 7, you are somehow fine. If you answer 8, 9, 10, you are super fine. So it's very easy. Don't deceive yourself, my beloved student. Then when you are done with that, you go back again to your course outline. You look at the next topic. Clarify and apply system analysis. You go back to the study guide and read it. Follow the same pattern. Then you are training hard. When it comes to the exam, my God, so it'd be so easy, like eating chicken wings. You know, chicken wings are very easy to eat. Yeah. Okay. The exam covers the entire module. So do not say, the question will not come from here. Who told you? The day you never expect, the Lord Jesus Christ will come. The question you never expect, you will see it. You know, they say, you don't know the value of 1 until you get 49 in an examination. You say, Mr. Edo, 49, you gave me 49. Just 1 mark. I did not give you. That is what you have. You cannot tell the teller, I need 1,000, but you are giving me 99. But your bank balance is 99. Where will the 1 come from? We don't dash people marks. That 1 that is missing, it can be just that unit that you ignored. This is not necessary. And it may be that unit that you ignored that question comes from. I'm talking from experience here, how it works. So don't ignore any unit. Question will be selected from all the units in your study guide. In fact, read your study guide from Genesis to Revelation. Don't say the book of Ezekiel is too difficult. Don't say the book of Revelation is too difficult. This algorithm, I don't like it. This algorithm, this programming. My dear, you are a computer science teacher. You must know them. The bottom line of what I'm trying to say is cover everything. Now I am done with the general guidelines. I want to move over now to the more technical areas. As I told you, there will be 1 or 2 practical questions from either Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Access. So you will be provided a computer and a printer. So I will give you a question either from Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Access database. You will do it on the computer, then print it out. If you are writing on campus. If you are writing online, You will do it on your computer, screenshot it, and paste it into the space provided. I repeat that because it was causing confusion last year for some of my students. If you are done, if you are doing that, if the exam will be on site, at a designated site by IOL, you will be given a printer to print it out. But if you are going to answer online, when you are done on Microsoft Word or Microsoft Access, you take the screenshots and paste onto the space provided. If you don't know how to screenshot, this is the time for you to learn how to screenshot. This is the time for you to learn how to screenshot. If you press Control and print screen from your system, provided your system has the latest operating system, it will screenshot your screen. Crop off the areas that are not necessary and paste there for me. The first question you always see in my question paper in computer science is define or explain the following computer terms. Things like a buffer. What is a buffer? We know buffer as a temporary storage area in which data is held pending an opportunity to complete its transfer to and fro a storage device. So can you explain what is a buffer? Another thing that I also want to talk about is interrupt and interrupt priority. It's a common question. An interrupt is when an external device interrupts a processor that is currently processing. You know, once a computer is on, it's like an engine that is running. You see, when a computer is on, it's like an engine that is running. Now, that processor can be interrupted. You know what it means to interrupt? Yeah. Say somebody say I was talking, then he or she interrupted me. She tried to stop me in a very simple English. So, if you have an interrupt, what happens is that an external device, it can be a printer, it can be a memory stick, can interrupt the processor. So during interrupt, what happens is that the processor will pause and attend to the interrupt, the signal of the interrupt. After attending to the interrupt, it will continue its processing. That is how it works. But because most time it happens so fast, we don't really know what goes on there. For example, you are printing from the computer. Your papers are on the printer. Then suddenly the papers are finished. What happens? You see on the screen, printer out of paper. Can you see that now? That is an interrupt. It means that external device that is connected to that computer, which is the printer, interrupted, seeking attention. I'm out of paper. Then you have to attend to it. It's either you cancel or you add paper so that it can continue printing. So as of that time, when the printer interrupts the processor, it will pause on what it's doing, attend to it, and continue. So you should be able to explain what an interrupt is and interrupt priorities. The priorities, what we mean is that if 3 or 4 devices interrupt the processor, which one is attended to first? The first interrupt is attended to first. Pulling. What is the difference between pulling and interrupts? Let me explain also, because I can ask you to differentiate between pulling and interrupt. First, what is pulling? Pulling is a process of periodically determining the status of each device in a set so that the active program can process events generated through each device. For a polling system, the processor interrogates the device or status registers. An interrupt system is preferred to polling because the request is handled as soon as it occurs and not when the operating system gets around to checking the device. I have read a lot of grammars. Let's leave the grammars. Let us talk here. What am I talking here? When you have polling, what happens is that the processor will once in a while, that is what we mean by periodically, once in a while check the status of all the devices. It will check the printer. Is there anything for me to do? No. It checks the memory stick. All the devices that are connected to the processor, it will start checking them one by one. If there is something to be attended to, it will attend to it, then it continues its work. So the processor has to periodically check all the status registers to see if there is something to be attended to. Then it attends to it, then continue. Meanwhile, in interrupt, the device will interrupt the processor. Here in polling, you have to wait until you are checked. So basically the difference is that if you are running on an interrupt system and the printer is out of paper, the printer will interrupt the processor and say, hey, Mr. Processor, my paper is finished. Cancel what you are printing or give me more papers. The processor will determine immediately. If it was pulling, if the printer is out of paper, it has to wait. It is when the processor comes to check, hey, printer, what is happening? Oh, there's no paper in you. Okay, you do this. So it is once in a while, periodically, that it checks the status register or the devices that are connected to it. In one of the statements that I made here, I said an interrupt system is preferably to polling because the request is handled as soon as it occurs, because it will interrupt the processor. Hey, attend to me. Otherwise, you are not going. And when the woman said, hey, if you don't give me my pocket money, you are not going to work today. When the woman said, you must give me that thing, otherwise you are not going out, my brother. If you want your peace, give. Otherwise, you don't go out. So the processor will immediately interrupt, but periodically you have to wait. So it's always faster, okay? Then read also about spooling. Okay, what is spooling all about? We have two different devices that are communicating. Take, for example, the printer and the processor. The speed the processor is communicating, let me put it this way, the speed of which the processor is sending work to the printer. It's not the same speed that the printer is printing. So they are not running at the same speed, but they are communicating. So what is spooling all about? So it's a technique used to speed up the communication between two devices that run at different speed. So read about spooling. Let's look at data validation. This comes out under database management system. Data validation. First of all, what is data validation? Before we talk about different types of data validation text, what is data validation? Data validation means using data that is sensible. Using data that is sensible in the context of which it is being used for. So a data might make sense in this context. By but might not make sense in this context. Let me give you an example. You're a teacher. When it comes to your marks, 0 to 100 makes sense when you talk about the marks of the learner, meaning a student can score 0, can score 100 maximum. So between 0 and 100, that is valid data. But if I tell you 120, it is not valid in the context of examination mark. It doesn't mean that 120 is not a number. But in that context, what I mean the word context is in that situation, student cannot score 120. The highest you can score is 100. So data validation means using data that makes sense in that context, for the situation, for that purpose that is being used for. Anything outside that will not make sense. So when you process data, you have to do data validation to avoid errors. Let us look at some data validation checks that can be created in a system's database. Present check is one of them. If you put present check in your database, it means that a particular field cannot be left empty. Have you ever tried, this is a very common something, when you try to fill a form online, you see, they will tell you these are compulsory field, mark asterisk, red, red, red. If you click submit and some of those fields that are marked red with asterisk, red, if you don't complete them, you cannot submit that form. Meaning, something must be there. They cannot be missed out. They cannot be missed out. Cannot be empty. We do that to avoid situation whereby someone forgets to put in data. I need your cell phone in this form you are filling for the purpose of me contacting you. But as a human being, you might have the tendency to forget to put it. That's why I made it a present check validation there, compulsorily, that without you putting that number, you cannot submit. Then we have another one which is called the range check. The range is from where to where, like the example I gave now, from 0 to 100. So if you put 101, the system will reject it. If you put anything more than 100, it will reject it. If you put anything less than 0, it will reject it. Then you have another one, the length check. The length check is how short should it be, how long should it be. Take for example, if I'm to do a length check validation on cell phone number. Our cell phone numbers are 10 digits. So I can create a validation rule and say cell phone 10. So if you enter your MTC or TM number, once it is less than 10, it will reject it. Once it is more than 10, it will reject it. We call it the length. How long, how short should the data be? Then we have another one which is called the type. Should it be alphabet, or it should be numbers, or it should be combination of them? Then you have another one, the format. If you look at the date of birth that is on the screen, should I write the day, the month, and the year? Or should I write the year, the month, and the day? Which format should it be? So these are different types of validation check that can be created when talking about database. Don't forget about this very interesting but simple topic, operating system. What is an operating system? Why do we need an operating system? What are some of the tasks that is carried out by an operating system? What are some of the functions of an operating system? An operating system serves so many functions. Those functions, I already highlighted them and bold them. So if you look at your screen, you will see those functions of an operating system highlighted and bolded. Please pay attention to this. Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, These two application package will come with some questions always there. Apart from the fact that you are going to work out a practical work, there will be theoretical work on Excel and Access. Now let's look at some questions. Here is the table of Microsoft Excel. Let's look at some question that comes with it. I will be very selective of 1 or 2 questions only due to our time. How many columns are in the spreadsheet? When you are counting your columns, you count from the A. You don't count this one. This is not a column. This one. This one is not a column. These are rows. The column starts with an alphabet. Column A, column B, column C, column D, column E. So I have how many columns here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 columns. Then how many rows? There are 10 rows. So look at that. Then look at name a cell that contains a label. A label is when you have alphabets. When you have alphabet. So this is a label, this is a label, this is a label, 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 label. These are all labels. So but the question is, you should mention the cell where those labels are. So for example, if you talk about this item, this is cell B3. If you talk about pencil, cell B5. Can you read? You see, this is 5. See, it's in row 5 and it's in column B. If you talk about exercise books, cell B7. Cell B7. These are the numbers that are created by me. But you look at the numbers of the Excel, not the ones that are created by me. Okay. Then look at the one that contains value. Look at the one that contains value. There you look at the ones that has numbers. Okay. For example, D4, then D7, and so forth. All right. These are common questions that comes out. And very importantly, not to overlook it, there's no way I will give you a question on Microsoft Excel that I will not ask you to write formulas. So practice how to write formulas when it comes to the use of Excel. When writing your formulas, take note of the following things. Every formula in Excel starts with an equal sign. Every formula in Excel starts with an equal sign. Know how to write your multiplication sign, that is the asterisk, and the division sign, the slash. Okay. Let us look at how to answer your question when it comes to Microsoft Access, otherwise known as database. You should know what is a feed. You should know how to write a query. You should know how to interpret your query. Let us look at one example. Here is a database question or table. Let us look at the question that perhaps that goes with it. I can ask you to define the time relational database. How many fields are there in this database? How many fields? Just the way I ask you how many columns are there in this spreadsheet. Here I can ask you how many fields are there in this. Fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 fields. I have 7 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 feet. And how many records? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 records here and 7 feet. Then, very important is the interpretation of a query. Let's look at sample question D. Let us look at sample question D. Let's look at our condition. Number of hosts greater than 17 and remove host check, yes. Using species only, write down which data items would be outputs. Write down which data items would be outputs. But the question says when you are writing down your answer, you should use only the species only. So let's look at our condition. Number of hosts greater than 17. So you go back to your table. Where is number of hosts? This is number of hosts. Can you look at any number of hosts that is greater than 17? Yes, this is one. Because number of hosts here is 18. So red chesters, cuckoos is greater than 17. But that is not all. The question says and. When you have and, it means that this condition and this condition must be true before you can say your statement is true. So before I can say yes, I have to look if my remove host check is yes. So I go to my table. Remove host check. Yeah, it is yes. Can you see? My number of chicks is greater than 17 and my remove host check is yes. So I will write red chesters cuckoo as one of my answer because the question says use only the species name. Let us see who else meet that condition. Greater than 17 and remove host check is yes. Greater than 17. I cannot pick this one because 17 is not greater than 17. 17 is equal to 17. So let's look at the one that is greater than 17 here. Yes, this one is greater than 17 and the remove host check is yes. I will pick this one also. Derek, whatever. Then this one, remove host check, yes. So I have 3 that I'm going to write here. The next one is for you to write the condition now, not to interpret the condition. How do you write the condition? Write down a query to select which species number of hosts are less than 10. Or, can you see here is not end, or remove their host chicks from the nest. Fortunately, I will not be able to write it here for you. But how do you look at it? When you are going to write your condition, 2 things you look at. The name of the feed and the condition. The name of the feed and the condition. Where is the name of my feed here? Number of hosts. Number of hosts. So if I go to my table, I'm looking at here, number of hosts. So I will write number of hosts in brackets. Number of hosts are less than, can you see that now? So you write number of hosts less than 10. Put it in bracket. Number of hosts less than 10. Put it in bracket. Then you will now put or instead of end now. Or then you look at your next condition. Remove their host chicks from the nest. Remove their host chick from the net. Remove their host chick from the net. Let us look at that. Remove host chick. Remove host chick. Removing the host chicks from the net, is that yes or no? It is yes. If the question says do not remove their host chick, then it becomes no. So I will now write remove their host chick equals to no. Put the no in quotes, just the way the text, the yes is in quote. So you write the name of the feed, put the operator can be and or. If there are 2 conditions, write the other condition, then put the condition, write the other feed and put the condition. If you have problem with this, please get back to me on your Office 365, precisely online, then I will help you on what to do there. You must know how to write an algorithm, very important. You must know how to write an algorithm. I've given you a case example here of an equation of an algorithm and the sample question, the sample answer to that, how to write an algorithm. Don't forget your systems analysis and design. Under system analysis and design, what do I expect you to know? I want you to know all the stages of systems analysis and design. All the stages of systems analysis and design. Mm. I was talking about the systems analysis and design. You must know your systems analysis and design stages. You know, under system analysis and design, there are stages. Now, so what is the first thing? Analysis, design, implementation, testing, evaluation, and maintenance. They must be listed in order. You cannot mention testing before design. No. What are you going to test if you don't design? It's a common sense, right? Yeah. You must design before you test. No. So whenever I ask you to explain what is system analysis and design is, and you have to mention the stages, let the stages be in a chronological order. Let it be in an order, just as the way it is given to you here. The coursework, I gave you this in your assignment, how to moderate a student coursework. You see, my beloved students, let me tell you this. By the time you become a computer teacher in a high school, you are going to moderate your student coursework. So the earlier you get familiarized with this, apart from passing your IOL work in your professional career, this is one thing that you will do every year as a moderator, internal moderator or external moderator. How to design an interface. What am I trying to say? Before you design the real system in your system analysis and design, normally you design your interface manually first before you go into the system design. So a switch, this is an example of an interface for a student registration system. All right. User documentation. What are the items that should be in user documentation? What are the items that should be in technical documentation? These are just few things that I've just discussed with you. Should you need further help, please, my number is on the screen. My email is on the screen. Contact me, and I look for the very beautiful day where we say, thank you, well done, my student. It is your day. Rejoice, fly, the flying colors, the bright, beautiful black gown. I wish you all the best. Thank you.